Welcome to Slow News Day with Kevin Clark. I am Kevin Clark.
Yep.
Woo.
Like in the Northwest, we don't have much. We had Bigfoot, D.B. Cooper.
Yeah. Before like Russell Wilson, it was just D.B. Cooper in the Pacific Northwest. All right, Colin Cowherd, one of my favorite people in the world. He's at Fox Sports. He's at The Volume. What's going on, buddy?
Listen, I'm going to start with a big take because that's what we do, right?
That's what we do. You're coming in hard. You said you were wearing a black shirt, so it pops on camera. You're ready for this.
Listen, I wanted to have kind of a Johnny Cash thing going for you out of
Sure.
respect.
Thank you.
I'm a hot take artist, so here's my hot take. Denver, Cincy, Rams, Green Bay, great quarterbacks that didn't take snaps in the preseason, all roll to blowout wins in week 2. Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, Joe Burrow, and Matt Stafford. They didn't play in the preseason. They're great. They got dogged for a week. They roll week 2. Boom. What do you think?
I think you're right.
A lot of times I've found in my career, what is called a hot take ends up being right. Strangely.
All the time. Hot takes. Let me tell you something. I'll channel George Costanza here. It's not a hot take if you believe it.
That's my takeaway. It's just a theory. It's just a belief. Yes. It's not a hot take. You just believe it. So I thought Baker Mayfield was too immature to hand a franchise to. I didn't think it was a hot take. I thought it was like I watched them in college. He grabbed his junk during games. Like, that's not going to work. I'm sorry.
You have very few rules, but one of them in scouting is if you grab your junk, you're out. You can do it mid-career like Marshawn Lynch, but that's different.
I have different rules for quarterbacks.
Okay. I like to do research on my guests, and I found 2 things out that I need to run past you. Number 1, you are subscribed to some sort of British detective streaming service called Acorn TV or something that you love British detective shows. Take me through this, Colin.
Okay, so mom was British, been to England 3 times.
Did not know that.
But I stumbled across Acorn TV. And I told my wife, I'm like, listen, it's nothing against like La La Land, but nobody really looks like Ryan Gosling. Like I've never had a friend.
Sure.
I mean, you ever seen like a commercial and it could be for a water park or chewing gum and it's like 6 good looking people together. It's like, that doesn't happen ever. So it's like you watch Acorn, it literally looks like every sidewalk in America. It's like normal people have bad teeth, bad hair. They've got bags under their eyes. You can't see the makeup. And it's like, okay, that's real television. There's no veneers on Acorn, like no veneers. It's fantastic television.
So when you see an ugly person on Acorn TV and it's some sort of British procedural, you're just like, yes, this is it.
Well, I tell my wife, are they actors?
The other thing I heard, this might be off the grid here, I heard you love the D.B. Cooper case.
Yeah, it's weird. So when I grew up, the Pacific Northwest is dark, it's wet, it's damp. I grew up in the coast of Washington, so that's the wetter version of the Northwest. Like I said, wetter and darker than the rest of the Pacific Northwest. So like serial killer books were fascinating. Oh God, yeah. Yeah. So my mom always liked that true crime craziness. And D.B. Cooper, think about this. A lot of you guys grew up in big markets. I grew up in a tiny coastal village. But yet in my childhood, 8 years old, 18 years old, the stories that were national news were massive. Mount St. Helens erupted, the Rajneesh in Central Oregon, Ted Bundy.
Ted Bundy, of course.
Like we had these weird, dark, almost mythical figures, and D.B. Cooper was like pre that. He was a little early. Yeah. So if you grew up in the Northwest, there's bars, there's D.B. Cooper, like was spotted here taverns. Like in the Northwest, we don't have much. We had Bigfoot, D.B. Cooper.
Yeah.
Like it's not, the rest of you guys grew up with sunshine and happiness. We didn't get that.
Before like Russell Wilson, it was just D.B. Cooper in the Pacific Northwest. Like that was it. Because you had Cooper and you had Russ, and that's why everybody booed. We're back to D.B. now.
It's just true story. So my mom liked some of these kind of, the true crime and the dark stuff. So when I was young, I started reading, like in high school, like serial killer books, right? So I moved to Las Vegas out of college, and I have like 10 of them, those books. And I have a date, and she comes over and she looks and she sees all these books, and like she just like leaves. I don't know what to make of it. I don't know what to make of it. And later I found out she freaked. She saw those books and thought, this guy's like, and I'm like, no. That's where I grew up. That's what you read. I'm from the Northwest. It's dark and gray. That's what we enjoy. So I was off. It was odd.
Wow. I didn't expect you to lose a date over your Pacific Northwest inspired serial killer obsession. Wow. You learn something new every day here on Slow News Day. I want to play a football game with you here. I want to do 1 through 10 blow up potential of the franchises I'm going to name because of what's happening. Now, let's start here. The New England Patriots. What on a scale of 1 to 10 is the blow up potential? I'm talking changes made. The whole thing has to be reset a little bit with the exception of the head coach. Could be a new GM, whatever it is. 1 through 10, what are you saying it is, Colin Cowherd, for the 2022 Patriots?
So my theory is that Belichick's gone after the year. They're not only bad, they're culturally off, and they're boring. It's a bad product. You know, some of these teams, like Joe Burrow's first year, they were losing. Yeah. They're wildly entertaining. They're boring. They're slow. I think 1 through 10, I think you're like 7.
Ooh.
I think Kraft goes to Belichick and says, listen, you got a house in Jupiter, Florida. I'll pay a couple $1,000,000 a year. Be a consultant. Leave on your terms.
Yeah.
Retire. I think it'll be offered. I don't know if he'll take it.
Dallas Cowboys. This could get so bad, and I don't know what the reckoning is, Colin, because I don't know if Jerry said, you know what? I screwed up. Team is built wrong. I've built my last team. Let's sort of do something else with the front office. McCarthy, I think, is probably out at some point, but the reckoning has to happen with Jerry for anything to work here. And I almost feel like the injury is a bit of a blockage as far as that goes, because they're going to just blame Dak's injury for this piss poor team.
Yeah, I think it's a 7 to an 8. I think the Cowboys, and I said this in the offseason, Jerry Jones is becoming Al Davis in the last 10 years. He has to apologize for things he says. He talks too much. He has too much power in personnel. He keeps whiffing on coaching hires. Al Davis in the last 10 years, it was all about speed at receiver.
Speed, yep.
Jerry Jones is like, we're going to run the football. It's like, Jerry, it's 2022. The Raiders became incredibly insular. No outside voices. Yep. It's the same with the Cowboys.
I completely agree with that. What's your birthday, Colin?
January 6, 1964.
You are a Capricorn?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Your worries can finally be left in the past at this time, Capricorn. There's a buoyant energy in the air. Make time to pursue things that bring a smile to your face. Focus on romance, a creative hobby, or getting in touch with the inner child. Know that you can focus on all the good things in life, Colin Cowherd.
Wow.
That's pretty good.
Like Capricorn is usually all business. You know, we're all driven and willful. That was like full of love and relationships.
We do a thing called Club Kevin. You can induct anybody in the world. Does not matter who it is, whether or not it's an athlete, whether or not it's a TV show you just saw, a movie, somebody walking down the street. Is there someone right now you want to induct into our Hall of Fame, Colin Cowherd?
Steve Sarkisian.
Boom. Okay. Plays Alabama tough? Yes.
Sark, his life implodes. Right?
Yep.
You know, it happens. You're young, you get a huge job. He was having some anxiety, whatever it was. I remember seeing him during that time. He stopped by Fox and he came into my dressing room. And I thought, oh my God, this poor guy, he's so bright. He's so capable. God, I hope somebody gives him a second chance. And then eventually, Saban gives him a second chance. The NFL gives him a chance. And I know he didn't beat Alabama, but you got to be honest. When you're watching that game, you're like, shit, he gave Nick a handful. Mm-hmm. Very few times have I watched Nick Saban, like I felt like, I think Nick got out coached. Like I thought that was the best loss I saw so far this year in pro or college football. That's as great a loss as a coach has had in college football in recent memory.
You're not giving Jimbo Fisher the best loss award for absolutely shit in the bed against App State. Thank you so much for coming on Slow News Day, buddy.
Thanks, bud.